Hello and welcome to the shop. Today I have a piece of cherry burl that I rounded a few months ago and I've been drying this for several years, and I'm not really sure where I'm going to take this piece or where this piece of wood will take me. I had to put a hole in the bottom of it to use my jig on the bandsaw to round it. I think my original idea was to try and give it some kind of feet on the natural edge and have it coming up into a nice clean edge from rough to clean. But I think I'm willing to lose the bottom inch or so of this and hollow this side and have a live edge or a natural edge there. So we're going to put this on the lathe this way, get a tenon established, reverse it, and see where that takes us. So stick around. Let's see what we can do with this big piece of cherry burl. All right, we can get it up to about 775 and it still be manageable as far as vibration is concerned, which will let me get it to true round, start forming the bottom of the piece. Well, if you look right here, there was a branch or something going through. And although I have 2/3 of a tenon, that's an awful big risk to try to truss that. You can see it coming here the other side. It's a big risk to try to truss that holding the bowl. And one of the things that I'm worried about, however, is that that's actually going up into the piece an inch. So I'm going to have to basically take off at least this far, just so that I have a possibility of being able to hold this piece of wood. I don't know. This is one of those times where if I did have a pressure pot, I would absolutely pour resin, because I'm going to lose a considerable amount of this piece. But I really want to see what I can bring out of this. So I'm going to finish getting it round, and then we're going to attack that base and get to a safe place where I can have a good solid tenon that I can trust. I do not feel safe. This is almost half of what this tenon is. I don't feel safe actually turning that down. We're going to saw it off. Because if that fails while it's turning, it's going to hurt. So we'll avoid that situation. Huh, wow. There really wasn't much there. I'm pretty good. I have this little recess here, but I've got a pretty good tenon here. I'm okay with this. That I think is going to hold, but wow. Almost non-existent there. So I'm really happy with the outside shape. Now there's a lot of bits of bark and some punkiness and some rot here. So before I start to hollow, I am going to take a stiff wire brush and really give this a good work over. Just try and make sure that I'm not going to have any big chunks flying at my head. And like right here, this is rot. So I kind of want to get that out before I start trying to hollow. That's just, there's nothing there. That's air. It's air with a little tiny wrapping of wood. So I want to clean that up before I start trying to hollow and see how much of this live edge or this natural edge we can keep. But first we're going to brush this down real good with a wire brush. Just kind of remove some of the debris so not as much chunks of who knows what are flying around. Well, that didn't go as planned. It withstood hollowing with the Portioner bit, but it just couldn't take much more than that. So I'm going to get it, I still have the center, I'm going to get it back between centers, and I'm going to put a recess at my larger chuck jaw diameter, and we will see if we can salvage this or if we have to start all over. Well, there you have it. I'm going to let that soak in, that heavy coat of Brad's Workbench Tongue Honey, and probably give it a second coat. There are a lot of punky and extremely dry and even rotted areas that are going to be drinking that in, and I want to add a little bit more so that it gets a little bit more of a luster to it. So you saw me work through some very serious challenges, starting with an incredibly not well-balanced piece. It was pretty shaky, and some serious issues with it, with bug damage. I believe there was a branch going through, and the initial tenon failure, and everything was because there was at one point in time in the distant past a branch going through there, and the bugs and the disease or whatever ate it, and that's probably what that burl formed around, was the core of that branch. And then you saw, of course, the tenon failure, a very an effective solution. However, the recess had some issues too, and it started to fail. So I had to make a decision to stop turning and start finishing, because there wasn't going to be a way for me to continue to hollow and get much deeper without that tenon failing. Now, I took a lot of that bulk out when I reversed the bowl and scooped out and made the bottom concave. So there's not a lot of bulk in the bottom. I have a fairly thin bottom, probably 1/4 of an inch, but I wasn't able to do that from the inside because even the recess that I put in to replace the tenon that failed was iffy. That's how badly damaged that wood was. But you saw the result. You saw, by being persistent, using very cautious ways to hold the wood, I was able to overcome its downfalls and come up with a very, very beautiful piece. So thank you once again for joining me. Remember that Heartwood Cookbook video, the first video, is coming out soon. It's going to have its own YouTube channel. I'll be sure to make a video introducing it and sending you over there. But in the meantime, please check out my Ko-fi.com page. If you like what I do, and if you would like to support my work, aside from hitting that subscribe button here on YouTube, please go to my Ko-fi.com page, check out my store, see if you want to subscribe and actually support me if you want to become a patron of Watai Wood Turning. Thanks again for joining me, and remember, just one more pass means put the bowl gouge down.